In this episode of The Tripod.
And next thing, the light comes. And my God, you start to panic. You frantically run for a composition. Tripods are being put up. There's phones being thrown out to try and get a story on Instagram.
It's essential.
Been hung on.
Because if you don't do a story, are you even there?
Exactly.
Welcome to The Tripod.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 43. I had to think there for a second. 43 of The Tripod. My name is Sean O'Riordan. I am the youngest host of this podcast. And I'm joined today
handsome.
by... we're only
Sorry.
10 seconds in. Already. See, Ronan isn't here now to...
I have carte blanche today, my friend.
This could get loose.
This could be messy.
You haven't guessed that. Ronan isn't with us. Unfortunately, he can't make it this week, but I am joined by Quiveen.
Hello, everybody. What is the story?
Second most handsome host of the...
I'll take that. He's not here. He can't defend himself. And I'm the second youngest person on this episode.
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
This is great.
How are you, Kev? How was your week?
It was all right. I finished up in my job on Tuesday or Wednesday. I was starting a new job in like a couple of weeks, but I had holidays and stuff to take, so I just kind of finished up a bit earlier than expected. And I've been incredibly bored. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, it's been like, because the weather was crap up until kind of Saturday, Sunday, the weekend. So yeah, today is Sunday. So I went out in a t-shirt today, man. Like actually, I just wore a t-shirt out in public, and I was like, "This is fantastic." And then even Ava was out. And we were out walking, and she had to take her top off. Just walking around in a vest. It was great crack. It was just lovely.
Yeah.
All within our 5K, and keeping it sensible and keeping it safe, of course. And I flew my drone for the first time in God knows how long. No, I didn't actually take any substantial shots, or I didn't. It was just nice to actually fly the drone and kind of have a look around. Actually, you know what? I'm already getting into rabbit holes, and this is classic tripod behavior. But there's a place close enough to where I live called the Mass Path. This old story of like basically it leads up to a church somewhere, I think in like Kilpetter or something like that. But so we walk up the Mass Path, and so popped the drone up in the air and just had a little look around, and I spotted a beautiful lone tree that I don't know how to get to. I don't know how to get to it, but I'm going to figure that bit out.
Yeah.
But it's the first one like close enough to me that I've actually spotted that is a proper lone tree.
Man.
I'm not
That's exciting.
I tried to fly the drone, and it was like a losing signal. I was like, no. But there's one there, and I spotted it, and I swear to God, I was so excited. So if anything, like that, it was worthwhile just for that, because I've now got a lone tree in my sights that I'm going targeting. Oh yeah, is that your Z50?
Man. No, this is the Z50 here beside it. Look at this. Look how cute these little cameras.
She's so cute. Like that'd fit in your pocket. It would actually fit in like a hoodie pocket.
It fits in the palm of my hand.
That is awesome.
It's nifty. I was went back making videos this week, so I done a bit of vlogging this week with the Z50. I really enjoyed it. But coming back to your lone tree, that's so weird, man.
I know.
Because I was flying the drone this morning, and I spotted a ring fort of trees, but inside the ring fort then it's all these old gnarly looking trees separated out.
No way.
And the fog, and I was like, I actually couldn't pinpoint where the drone was. I know, sorry, I was like that as well. You're always meant to keep the drone in line of sight, but look, it was 7:30 this morning, Sunday morning, no one's around. But I was trying to think, where is that now? So I'm going to go back to the same spot and try and pinpoint this ring fort of trees. It looks unbelievable.
Class.
Prime example of what drones can be, how utilised they can be for a photographer.
Because like,
so when you going to shoot this lone tree?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna, because as I said, I just spotted it and got really excited and had to bring my drone back because my phone battery was like 9%. So I was just like, right, I'm not losing the drone again. Like, I know, yeah. So yeah,
Kevin's phone battery, okay, is all. So Sean Kev sends you a screenshot or something, and it's always in the yellow low percentage mode or low, whatever that is, low battery mode. Like,
it is what it is.
His phone never comes out of that.
No, I should even now it's charging. Okay, it's 40% now because like it's plugged in. But yeah, sure. Look, it is what it is. But yeah, I think so. Obviously, I'm off all week. So because I'm waiting to start a new job. So I've got the next 2 weeks off, and Ava's back to Montessori all of next week. So no, not the week that you're listening to the podcast. She'll be off, but the week after, she's back in. So I have like that whole week off. Like I've got a whole free week just to go and do this. So I'm gonna just wait for the right conditions and stuff. So I'd love to do it at sunrise. I think it'd be perfect for sunrise. Now, if only I knew how to plan a sunrise properly.
Oh well, you're in luck, my friend. Segue.
Yes.
If that's because that is what we were talking about. That was probably the best ever segue I think we've had in
thank you very much
to date. I want to ask you one quick question. Can we just
mention my hair real quick?
Yes, we can.
It's glorious, isn't it?
Yes, we can mention your hair. Speaking of that, Ronan is joining us on this episode, and sure, why not let him join us now?
I'm nervous.
So, Ronan sent me a voice note to play in the podcast. So here we go.
Sorry to interrupt again, lads. I don't even know what you're talking.
Oh, sorry. Why does WhatsApp do that? It cancels it when it goes up to anywhere near. Sorry, I'll try that again.
What you're talking about? Yeah, it's me, Ronan, the average host of the tripod. In case you couldn't tell. I just thought I'd let you know. Sean texted me the other day outside the group chat, and he said he hates your hair.
Oh,
so I just thought that should be aired. I'll check back in with you shortly. Love you.
Wow. That was episode 43 of the tripod.
I was surprised. I was surprised as you were, honestly.
It's okay. I look like the Lego man. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like it's grand.
You look phenomenal, Kevin. The mind blowing.
It's so like I've got to the point where I'm like, do I want? Because I almost bought a razor, like a clippers online. I was like, no, I'm gonna just leave it. I'm just gonna let it.
Oh man,
just let it play out and see what happens.
Wouldn't be able to. I bought the razor online for Christmas.
Did you?
Just like blade one up the sides, all the way around. That's it.
Like, we'll see what happens. I'm not going anywhere. Like, no one's going to see me. Like, apart from
that's true.
Hundreds of people who watch the podcast on YouTube, of course. Hi, everybody.
That's true.
But like, it's
hopefully you enjoy the last one. Video's great.
It is. It's I want a bit more calm this time as well. Go for it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a question about your lone tree before we move on to actually planning a sunrise shot.
Yes.
Do you know how to get to it?
Not yet. No. So we're gonna have to go back to where I was.
Okay.
Put the drone up again, and then try find. Because like you, I didn't know exactly where my drone was at the time. It was just up there somewhere. Like it's not too far away from me. It's kind of only like, maximum it's going to be 15-minute walk because it's all within my local area. You know what I mean? So
that's sound.
Yeah,
that's sound. Because that's the first thing that I'd be saying to you is try to figure out how to get there, because
absolutely,
there's nothing worse, and that's one of the things I'll touch on in this episode. There's nothing worse. That's one of the most difficult things about shooting a sunrise is you're basically trying to find a composition in the dark. You're trying to stumble around in the dark and trying to find places. So if you don't kind of have an idea beforehand, But let's get straight into the topic of sunrise, because we get an awful lot of questions about planning landscape shoots, and I was thinking about how to tackle this topic, because it's a broad topic, and the best way I found to tackle it was I'm going to break it down into the 3 times a day that we gotta typically shoot as a landscape photographer. So this episode is going to deal with sunrise. Whenever we do the next episode on it, we'll deal with midday shooting and sunset. Okay,
Lovely.
so hopefully you learn a
Can't
thing or
wait
two
for
of
them.
this. And yeah, I mean, sunrise. Oh man, sunrise is just, there's something special about sun. And I'm not just saying this. You know the difference between sunrise light and sunset light. I don't know what it is, because
you
the sun's
definitely do.
elevation is going to be the exact same in the sky, but
Yeah.
it's just something. It's just something special. Like, do you know what I mean, Kev?
Do you know what I like about a sunrise? It's
Go for it.
because you're in darkness. You know what I mean? Like, cause so you're making way to a place in darkness in anticipation for light to arrive. You know what I mean? And then when it does, it's just it's fantastic. It really is.
Oh man, that's poetry. Imagine this now, right? You've got it's a February morning, right? Spring morning. There's a bit of frost.
Oh
Bit
yes.
of clear skies. Not so much frost now that would make the roads dodgy, but enough that
Yeah, we
have
want
to get
safe
the kettle
roads.
out. You want to get the kettle out, clear the windscreen. So you get into your car, Kev. Turn on the heat.
Yep.
You drive to the location. Get out of
Well,
the
you
car.
turn on the heat and then you wait 10 minutes and then you get back into the car.
No,
Yeah,
Kev, you're going. No, Kev, you're going to a sunrise shoot. You're against the clock here now, Kev. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to channel my inner ASMR here now, Kev.
Oh,
Okay,
go for it.
so
Okay.
You're in the car. Get out. You get to your location. You get out of the car. You put on your jacket. You put on your hat. Throw the bag
You
over
put
the
on your jacket.
shoulders. Your feet crunch on the frost-covered grass as you walk to your location. Stay with me now, Kev.
I'm here. I'm with you all the way.
The dawn chorus has started. There's a
The
pheasant.
dawn chorus.
A pheasant frightens the shit out of you out of the blue when there's total quiet. But you still pursue your location. And next thing, the light comes. And my God, you start to panic. You frantically run for a composition. Tripods are being put up. There's phones being thrown out to try and get a story on Instagram. There's
It's
cameras
essential.
being hung on. Oh,
Because if you don't do a story,
Yeah.
are you even there?
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And when you get it's bliss. It's bliss. I mean, sunrise is. Do you know what I love about it is, right? You feel like you're already a step of every single human being in the world, because you feel like you're the only one up awake at that time during
Absolutely.
that sunrise. And obviously you're not, but you just feel like that, especially when you're a landscape photographer, because you're alone generally in the landscape, and you just feel like you're top of the world.
I love the mutual respect you get from the other person you may happen to come across then as well. Like a dog walker or something.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just like top of the morning to you.
Yeah.
It's like we're both, we're
Yeah.
open at it. I love that. Like
They're like, you're
Yeah.
getting after it.
You know what I mean? I love it. Like, and they're
Then
like,
I was out
and you
shooting.
get to see a dog,
out
which is
shooting
always
this
a plus.
Yeah. I was out shooting this morning, and you really know the days are getting longer. So the sun rose at 7:20 this morning, and I was out shooting into Woodland, and I met a guy walking, and like you said, he just said, "Hello, lovely morning." He said, "It's a great morning for the cameras." I said, "It absolutely is." I had the two cameras with me, so I was vlogging. And it was this mutual respect. It's like we both made the effort to get out of bed at probably 6:30 or whatever it was,
It's fantastic.
Sunrise is just magic. Sunrise is magic. There's nothing more magical about a misty, foggy spring morning at sunrise, And that is one of your options when you want. So let's get down to the technical nitty gritty when you're planning a landscape shoot. Now I'm going to talk post-COVID, pre-COVID. Okay, well, COVID is not in this.
Just when life is normal
at the moment.
When life is normal,
I think we all need a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just talk for the rest of this podcast. Let's pretend that C word just doesn't exist. Not canon, the other C word
100%.
for this podcast, right? So
we can pretend that doesn't exist as well.
Way.
Sorry, canon users.
Sorry.
Colin Colin just purchased a Nikon Z6 II.
Yes, Colin. Yes, my son. Good work.
I hope you don't mind me saying that, Colin, but I just wanted to celebrate another Nikon.
We're delighted for you, Colin.
He was always a Nikon user, I think. But he went into the Nikon mirrorless. Okay, right.
Deadly. Right. So
Ronan isn't here now to. Yeah. We're like those two kids when their parents have left. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
This could turn into anything.
Like,
this could actually end the tripod as we know.
It may not be structured, but it'll be great crack. I'd imagine.
We'll get there. Okay, we'll get there.
Right. So
when
COVID.
When I plan a sunrise shoot, no COVID. Planning. I'm off tomorrow morning. I'm gonna shoot sunrise. I'll check my weather apps. Okay. No. As they generally should say, as Marco probably found out this morning, as Clarity was like meant to be covered in fog and there was hardly none. But anyway, let's say you check your weather apps, and depending on what I see on the weather apps, that will determine where I'm gonna shoot. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll give you a couple of options. It's calm.
Yep.
There's a humidity of between 98 and 100%. So calm, humidity, high humidity, like no wind, generally clear enough skies. I'd give or take that. I'm going to be heading to a lake, or I'm going to be heading to a mountain. Okay? Explain the reflections. If it's a clear night, so no cloud, and the temperature drops a small bit, that's when you get the mist rising off the lake. Okay?
Oh, lovely.
The warm air from the night before, rising off the water, meeting the colder air, condensation, mist forms.
I was just going to say, if we take a look right behind Sean, that's the perfect. It's the perfect shot to explain exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is.
God, that is gorgeous.
It's one of my favorite images I've ever taken. And it was exactly the conditions I'm talking about. So if you're not watching this and you're listening to this, it's my boat shot from the upper lake in Clarny. So you have a thin layer of mist going the whole way across the horizon. You have perfect reflections, really calm morning. Okay, so that's why I'm going to head to a lake. The mountain is another option because you'll often end up in mountains, you have valleys. And on cool, calm mornings like that, mist or fog can form in valleys. So there's a high probability you'll be above the mist or above the fog. So that's one possible option you have. If it's looking a bit breezy, but the cloud conditions are right, I'll often head to the coast because you'll have that bit more motion in the water because it's a bit more breezy. And then I'll be bringing my filters with me because when I'm at the coast, I love to shoot between a 1/6 of a second and 1 second shutter speed. I generally don't do like the super long exposures. I like to show a bit of motion in the water while still
just enough to capture
detail. You know, there's no point going to a lake if it's windy because it just does a wave on the lake.
100%.
It looks horrendous at sunrise.
Because the difference between like a lake and the ocean, obviously, you kind of want to see a bit of movement and a bit of aggression, let's say, in the ocean. You know what I mean? Whereas a lake, you just want it to be like a mirror.
100%.
Always. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what you want.
100%. And often, like as I touched on before in earlier on the episode, sunrise is probably tougher to shoot than sunset because I love sunset for other reasons as well, which I'll talk about. But sunrise, you're often in the dark for most of it until the light comes up. And if you want to shoot those pre-dawn skies, well, then you're going to be trying to find the composition in the dark. So it's not easy. And it actually, like, I think experienced landscape photographers take it for granted that you just rock up and, like, I often struggle. Like I nearly struggle if I don't know the area. Different story if I do know the area. Okay, so but if I don't know it, it is a struggle. Okay, so it's often a case of if you find a composition you like at sunrise, don't go leaving it or moving around because you think you might find something somewhere else. Just if you're happy with that,
stick to it.
Shoot your image. Do you know? Another thing is, don't pack up as soon as that sun. So let's say you've experienced a nice pre-dawn sky, you've got some nice color and everything. Don't pack up as soon as that sun comes up. No. Depending on the time of year, if it's late autumn, winter, you have a 2-hour window where you could still shoot away. Yep. If it's late spring, summer, you might have an hour to maybe 40 minutes to an hour where you can still get some nice light and without it being too harsh. You know? So then go away and find something to shoot in the golden hour. Now, when you're shooting in the golden hour at sunrise or even sunset, this is kind of just a golden hour rule in general. You want to keep the sun behind you or to the side of you. You don't want to shoot directly into the sun. Okay? It creates blown out highlights and light that's very, very hard to control. And this is moving on to my next area where we can shoot at sunrise. Unless you're in the woodland. If you're in the woodland, then the best time to shoot is actually about an hour after the sun has risen, because if anyone has ever walked through a woodland during dawn, well, it's dark, like the sun can't penetrate through. So when the sun has come up for an hour or two, you have a chance to shoot sunbursts or starbursts, whatever they're called. Sun stars through the trees, because you can see it, and you have some nice light coming in through the woodland, particularly if there's fog, you know.
Yep.
So
gorgeous.
You have your woodland. See, the woodland then is a bit different. You can shoot in the woodland when the sun is up and there's no clouds or anything, but the dynamic range has issues there, because it's very hard to expose for both of them, and there's nothing worse really sometimes with trees when you see little blown out patches in the sky. Yep. So try and keep your sky out of it if possible. Now, that's one thing.
You said that before. You said that if you, probably at this stage, it could be 15 episodes ago. Keep the sky out of your woodland images, and it's something that I've very much been aware of now. Because you're absolutely spot on. Like when you see even like a little speck, it can look awful because it's pure white, like it's pure brilliant white. You know what I mean? Like dead white.
It's not always possible, you know. And that's what I was like this morning. I actually shot a scene, where it wasn't possible. It would have ruined the whole composition, and the composition was too nice to not include the sky. But the sky was a blue tone. It was light blue tone, so I got away with it. It wasn't the dazzling white. Do you know what I mean? It was a light blue. And even when I do crop, I'll probably do like a 4 or 5 crop. I'll still have a bit of the sky, but it's not distracting. The problem with leaving the sky is it can just distract you from the main elements of the shot, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. And it's just, because it's you can tell it's kind of, it shouldn't be there, and it's completely burnt out or whatever, you know what I mean? So,
it's not easy.
It can be hard
to sometimes.
Exactly. Like it can be hard because, like sometimes it's just there. You know, sometimes you can't move the sky. You know what I mean? So,
and if you watch Simon, if anyone watches Simon Baxter or even Nigel Danson, the woodlands they're shooting in, I actually have a woodland video planned. I'm going to hopefully shoot this week if I can. But
exciting!
The woodlands they're shooting in are up. A lot of them are in mountains, or else they're really low in valleys, and they're surrounded by fells and valleys, so like they get away, like they're not actually including the sky in their shots anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But unfortunately in Ireland, we have very much I'll touch on this. Do you know what? I'm going to go down this rabbit hole for a second, because I'm very passionate about the woodlands. Ireland was once covered in 80% woodland, okay, natural woodland.
That's
now,
upsetting.
obviously that wouldn't
for many reasons.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that wouldn't be possible, like, even to run a country if it was 80% woodland. I get that, okay? Do you know, I'm talking 1600s here.
Yeah, right, go on then.
Know? But,
we had to make room for Limerick Ireland somewhere, I suppose, didn't we? You know what I mean?
But now Ireland is 11% covered in woodland, with 2% of that being native woodland. Now, if you don't know the difference between native woodland and what probably majority of you see on your Sunday walks, well, the majority of woodland in Ireland is coniferous woodland, man-made woodland managed by organisations like Coillte. And yes, they are essential, obviously, because it's needed for industry. The problem with this coniferous monoculture woodland is only one thing can grow. One. Only one thing can grow. And they're very distinctive. We've all seen them. Long, cylindrical trunks, no low branches on them except for these little sticky out branches that would take your eye out. And then you have a canopy at the top. And there's no native trees. And by native trees, I mean what you see Simon Baxter and Dance and Shoot. Oaks, beeches, ash, alder. Okay, all these beautiful native trees that photograph so well, and that actually it's not even about photographing, it's about the biodiversity of the landscape. They have a lot more benefits for not only the wildlife but the grounds, so the fauna and everything. Okay, so that's why how did I even get onto this topic of woodlands, Kevin?
I kind of feel like I'm on a blind buy podcast here as well, for just because he's a big fan of biodiversity and woodlands and stuff.
It's so upsetting when you walk through a coniferous woodland and then you can just there's nothing around, there's nothing on the ground.
Yeah,
I mean the ground is barren.
Yeah,
there's no greenery even on the ground. Have people not noticed that? Like, and that's because these pines, they're pine trees, they're spruce trees. Okay, so they're coniferous trees. They don't lose their leaves. So coniferous trees don't lose their leaves. A deciduous tree, which is your oaks, your ashes, all of them, they lose their leaves in autumn. And like nothing will grow around a coniferous tree, and they're just not like I know, but I have photographed them. Like, but I have no choice. Like, I'm just trying to, you know, like that. I'm just trying to, whatever, be an artist, be a photographer. But I'm very passionate about this woodland issue. So I really hope that, and I do know that Coillte are making efforts to replant native trees. No, we won't see them in our lifetime. I mean, an oak tree, it takes about 100 years to grow to maturity. So, but it's good that they're making that effort, you know.
Can we start a campaign on this episode right now? Is there anything that we can do to change this?
I know a lot of photographers would be very passionate about this as well. So Shane Brennan we gave him a shout before, he'd be very passionate about it. Me and Shane have lengthy conversations where we're actually trying to track down the last remnants of native woodlands in Ireland, and there are a couple of them. There used to be there's not a lot of it left, but there was a hazel woodland in the Burren in County Clare.
Oh, lovely.
I think unfortunately a lot of that is gone now. But we can start a campaign. We'll just,
what can we do? Like, what can we do?
Ronan's usually good for this.
I know, yeah.
Very apt now if he send me an voice note now this time, but he hasn't.
I thought you were going to be surprised there.
No, I know.
Got really excited.
If everyone would just put up on their stories, save the native woodlands with a tree emoji, tag the Try podcast. So save the native woodlands and tag the Trip podcast, and we'll see what we can do.
Because
sounds good.
That sounds great. Like, we should bring this to Congress or whatever the Irish equivalent of Congress is. I've been watching 24 again.
It is happening.
So,
you know
what I mean.
They are making efforts to replant like native trees, you know, and like I know that the coniferous woodland is necessary for industry, so all the building timber would come from there, you know, but. It's just
but to have 2%, like 2% of the
native woodland,
native woodland, like that is really sad. You know what I mean?
So if anyone wants to see where I got those figures from, just Google. Is it what? I think I literally just Googled how much native woodland is left in Ireland, and it's actually a newsletter from Coillte came up. So they interviewed this guy, and he spoke about really interesting. If not to get into the. Oh man, we're really going off topic here, okay? But
look, we've no Ronan here to rein it in. Like, it's grand.
Yeah, I'm in an unbelievable state of flow now at the moment.
Go for it.
Do you know, not to how do I word this though without losing our listeners in the United Kingdom? Not to
Go for it.
Okay, so
just be patriotic. You can be patriotic without.
I'll call a spade a spade.
Go for it.
Yes, the Normans cut down a lot of our woodland, but the English cut down an awful lot of it when they came, because rather than cut down their own native woodland, they cut down the Irish because They needed it for industry, they needed it for building, they needed it for shipbuilding predominantly. This is probably around, I don't know when Harland Wolff was founded in Belfast, but I'm sure a lot of the timber that was used in the shipbuilding up there came from Irish woodlands, you know. So that was a big thing for it. Also, when Cromwell invaded, so the Irish knew the terrain really well, and obviously a lot better than the Brits. And they used to be able to hide in trees, and they used to go up into the mountains and couldn't be found. So Cromwell decided to cut down the trees that were basically in his way, so that he was able to capture and plunder and do what they did. That we won't delve into in this podcast.
See, the beauty of this is, right, like even if we do have UK listeners, which I'm sure we've got plenty of, so like, hello everybody, how are you all getting on? They're not going to take offense to that, you know what I mean? Like that's in the past.
It's fact.
That's fact. You know, Oliver Cromwell.
Even though you don't learn that in your history, I know you don't learn that.
I mean, if anything, this is a history and photography podcast. But yeah, look, you know, we know, unless you are like, you know, Ollie Cromwell the fourth photography and you're listening to this, then we're sorry we dissed your great granddad. You know what I mean? But he shouldn't have cut down the trees. So we do apologize to you.
Great. Yeah, probably even more. He was like 1700, wasn't he?
Yeah. So like, look,
probably or something. Anyway,
just don't be chopping our trees down.
That's the story of Ireland's woodlands.
We're on to issues.
Yeah. Bringing it back. Let's bring it. I'm going to bring it back now to sunrise. Okay.
Okay. So, that's what we're here about. It's not a history podcast.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Shooting sunrise in the woodland.
Oh yeah.
So fog and sunrise and the woodland just go together so well, because you get rays of sunlight piercing through the trees, and it's a really, really magical thing to look at. It's just a peace at sunrise that you just stop and listen, and it's just magic. Do you know what I mean?
See, I love being in the woodland at any time of the day, right? Because generally speaking, like, you're not going to be bombarded with people. It's generally quiet enough anyway. But if you get there for sunrise, man, it's like, it's almost as quiet as you can get apart. You know, you've got nature, and that's it. It's gorgeous.
And also for for introverts, like, and just people who kind of enjoy that space, like, you know, it's so nice just to have the landscape to yourself. Yep. And you're gone, especially these times, like, especially now. This is another thing I wanted to touch on. It's getting into the realm now where you're going to be getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning if you want to shoot sunrise, and it's going to be getting earlier and earlier and earlier. So in the summertime, oh by God, I'd be like a zombie if you do.
You're up at 3 o'clock and stuff, aren't you?
Careful. Yeah, like, because Limerick is very central in terms of. It's really central to get to loads of different places.
Well, central if you're a lunatic like you who has no problem driving 3 hours to a place.
That's it.
That's very different. You know what I mean?
I'd get up in the summer and drive to Connemara, for sunrise. Or I'd drive down to Kerry. Or I'll drive to Coppercoast and Waterford. Or I'll drive to Wicklow. Like, that's what I mean by Limerick is central. And it is central because for, like, Yee and Wicklow to go down to Dingle, it takes hours, like, you know, well, whatever, 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
You'd have to stay. You'd essentially have to either stay over or just get down there the night before and sleep in your car or something. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah.
Which I can't wait to do when we're allowed again, by the way.
Oh, stop. We're not mentioned. There is no...
Ignore that last sentence.
Yeah.
Listeners, disregard it.
Yeah. But, I can't remember what I was going to say. No, okay. Oh, yes, I can remember what I was going to say. Driving in the summertime, be very, very careful, please. Don't drive tired. I have had 1 or 2 scares, and just on a serious note, like, where I have had to pull in and sleep, like, on the way home.
Really?
Because I could just feel like one time I was driving home from, where was it? Dingle. I was in Dingle. So it was a summer shoot. So, like, sunrise at like 5:30, so it takes 2.5 hours to get from Dingle to my house. And, like, you know, some nights you just can't sleep. So, like, I probably went to sleep at 11:30, and I got up at like 1, like, to drive to this location. Do you know what I mean?
Dear God.
And then
like, you probably would have been better off not going to sleep.
Oh, stop. And then, and like, to make it worse, like, you know, the audiobook I'd be listening to in the car is Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Like, and the importance of sleep, like, the irony of that.
You need
really
music for that.
Really interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, that for me,
really
that would be
audiobook.
Pumping the tunes.
But anyway, I was driving home and I was tired, like. Next thing, the car was just rubbing off the ditch, like,
oh Jesus,
like on the left-hand side of the road. And I just jolted, like, I was like, oh wow. And I got such a fright. That's the first time it ever happened to me. So I just pulled in and slept for like an hour and a half.
Really?
And I carried on my way.
Yeah, like I've had one instance of that really, and it was coming home from Electric Picnic in 2019. So I had only found out I was photographing it, as I've said before. It was like a day before. I think it was the Thursday. It was a Thursday around 3:00. So I literally had, like, you know, 6 hours to organize, prepare, get everything ready to go down and shoot it for the weekend. So I had no tent. I had no anything. So and I couldn't get the day off work at the time. So I strategically planned all of my meetings in County Laois on the Friday, which was handy enough. And luckily enough, actually, it's quite a good story. One of my car dealers at the time, JK Autos. If you're living in Laois looking for a car, John is the man, by the way. He lives on a road that's blocked off by the guards because, like, they have to divert all the traffic a certain way to kind of, you know, crowd control and all of that. But because I was like, I'm going to see John, JK Autos, I was actually allowed past the barricade, and I skipped like I skipped about like 15,000 people. Like, it was class. But yeah, so I was very unprepared for that too, because I didn't know. Like, I had everything with me and all, but I didn't know I was doing it. So I was driving back and forth every day, and it's a long day. It's not like I worked that full Friday. Well, and then had like from 6 to midnight of a shoot. Drove back from Stradbally to Kilkill, up again the next morning with the little one. Drove to Stradbally, shot from, I think the Saturday started at 12, and it was from like 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning. So that was 13 hours, and drove back again. So like it was long, and I mean, like, you're not just shooting, like, you're running around, like, you're literally sprinting between venues, between stages.
Yeah.
Because there's such a crossover at times. You know what I mean?
That's what I say.
Yeah. So then coming home that night, like, I tried everything. I had coffee. I had all my windows open. I pulled over a few times, like, but there was, you know, definitely head nods, and it was the first time I'd ever like properly had like oh my God moment. Like, it is really scary. So
scary.
Like, yeah. So I'd imagine, you know, if you're getting up really early in the morning to go shoot a sunrise, like, just be careful.
Get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Get enough sleep. Don't do what I used to do. Like, I used to go to bed at 11 to be up at 2 or 1. Like, I mean, I know it's hard, but you'll be surprised. Even if you do, if it's possible, if you can go to bed at like 8:30, I don't really early, or 9, like, even if you don't sleep, just lie down and just, at least your body's getting rest, and don't be stuck on your phone. Like, don't, you know, it is a serious thing, like, is driving tired, and I've done a lot of it. And I genuinely think that my brain got damaged in some way from all the early mornings I had. Like, if you listen to that audiobook, read it, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, it would put you off being a landscape photographer, or it would put you off shooting at sunrise. It would put you 100% would.
Jesus.
The driving tired, so driving fatigued, is the equivalent of driving drunk or worse.
Yeah, sure. Remember, like the Road Safety Authority had those ads and stuff like that. Like, it is true. Yeah. I mean, there's been a few times where, like, when that happens, it is so terrifying. You're like, holy God, that could have ended terribly, and all because I didn't have enough sleep. You know what I mean? So, listeners,
So
if you're planning a really early sunrise, you know, get into bed early. Listen to an episode of the Tripod, go back through the archives and pick out your favorite and re-listen to it, so you're not missing any vital information because you've already heard it anyway. Just drift off to a nice calm sleep, listen to Sean O'Riordan and myself and Ronan, of course, as well.
And if you want to stay awake, then listen to the quiz episode where I got pranked because there was a lot of roaring in that.
Yeah, I mean, what calming episodes? Oh, remember we did the episode where we were like talking about, I can't remember, we got a bit ASMR. Yeah, the waves. Yeah, we'll dig out that episode, and if you're planning a sunrise, that's the episode that you should listen to before you drift off to sleep.
Yeah,
early,
100%.
And then you'll be safe the next day. Because look, we want to see those beautiful images, but we also want to see more images, and every image thereafter. So just stay safe, people. That's all we ask. Shawnee, before we wrap this up,
listening to the sweet subtle tones of Limerick and Wicklow.
You can't beat it. Like, you can't. You know what I mean? It's like, who would have thunk it? Limerick and Wicklow for the win. Shawnee, a couple of tips for shooting a sunrise before we get into a cute Kevs Korner, I would say. Shawnee. Oh, Sean's gone. It's the monopod, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all getting on? Shawnee, so before we get into a lovely, cute Kevs Korner, it's back, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's back. It's going to be a nice one,
yes.
Though. Have you any like kind of final tips just to wrap up sunrise and a beautiful bow for our lovely listeners?
Planning often helps a lot of time with sunrise. So if you can, know your location. If you're shooting pre-dawn, so if you're shooting before the sun comes up, expect a lot of blue tones in your images. So your camera is white balance, you have it on auto white balance, it'll be quite blue tones. So just be prepared to deal with them in post-processing. Very important that you can interpret how your images are going to look even before you shoot them. And just enjoy the piece, embrace it, and enjoy the alone time in the landscape. Yeah.
Gorgeous. There you go, listeners. From Sean O'Riordan to your ears. What more can I ask for?
Probably very untechnical discussion on sunrise.
Yeah, but you know what?
Here we are.
That's, if they want...
That's how I do. Sorry.
But if people want technical advice, they can look it up online. If they want to hear it from real people...
That's true.
They want to hear it from,
That's true.
people who are relatable. Why not listen to the tripod? You know what I mean? Right, Kevs Korner.
Makes sense. Yes.
It's been a while since we've had a Kevs Korner, and there's been times where they've been controversial and they've been lovely and they've been nice and they've been a bit odd. But today it's just, it's a rally cry almost in a passionate but beautiful way. So, like, we've all been there, You're at a crossroads in your photography. You don't really know what's what. You don't really know what you want to do. Especially me, because I've gone from landscapes, weddings, concerts, weddings, landscapes. Because I've gone everywhere. Like, I've done animals, people. Like, I've tried a lot of photography, just because I love photography though as well. Like, I just enjoy all aspects of it, But Mark Duffy said it a couple of years ago, or a couple of months ago, should I say, that he's a photographer. He's not a landscape photographer. He's not a product photographer. He's not a portrait. He's a photographer. And that resonated with me, because I think people get bogged down too much trying to appease social media. And people tend to forget why they got into photography. Like, I did not get into photography for likes on Instagram. And I have 100% fallen down that rabbit hole and fallen into that, vicious circle of posting photos for the sake of posting, which I'm still doing now. Like, I used to post daily. I used to try and post daily for the algorithm, for the sake of posting. And I've gotten out of that, thankfully, out of that cycle, just because I fucking run out of content as well. But like, I don't post daily now, but I do still post for the sake of posting. Like, and I find it can be sometimes like tricky to, like, I'll post and then, 10 hours later, I'll just reply to every comment with a thank you, cheers, nice one, appreciate it, thank you very much. Cheers. And it's not real engagement. You know what I mean? It's not like but that's not why I have an Instagram account. But obviously I got sucked into that. But what I suppose the Kevs Korner today is just a rally cry to all you listeners that just photograph what you enjoy. Like, don't photograph stuff because you think it's gonna do well on Instagram. Because we've all done that. Like, I've done it loads of times. You know what I mean? I just want people to just... I love it. Like, do you know what? Like, sometimes you see a photograph and you look at it and you go, you know, the judgmental side kicks in. It's like, oh, that's not a great photo. And then you're like, but you know what?
Yeah.
He was out taking that photo. He got up, he left his house early, he took that photo and he enjoyed it and he liked it. So he posted it. And sometimes I think that's actually more, you know, that's more impressive than someone who's producing this, you know, who's reposting. Like, I've reposted quite a few images now, obviously from gigs and stuff. So like, people they're out there and they're just doing it for the sake of enjoying photography, and they're doing it, and like that's so important. You know, just photograph what makes you happy rather than photographing what you think other people are gonna like.
100%. 100%. And it boils down to this, right? And this can be taken into any walk of life. I'll use photography as an example, obviously.
Yep.
If you're photographing what you think other people will like, then you're offsetting your happiness and you're offsetting your value onto other people, which means that's not within your control.
Yeah.
And it really boils down to that. Like, if it's now you're outputting, or you're relying on your happiness from an external source, from a source that's not within you yourself. So if you don't shoot what you love to shoot, then you're not winning, and you won't. It might work for a while. Yeah. Trust me, coming from someone who knows, okay, I've been there, but it will catch up with you. And this is something that I touched on a small bit in my video during the week, about shooting portfolio images versus just going out shooting. And the vlog that I shot this week, that'll go live, I think maybe in about 2 weeks, whenever I get to edit it. I was just up shooting in my locality. Conditions weren't great, but I was out. I was shooting with the camera. I was videoing. I had such an enjoyable day, and I hope that the enthusiasm comes across in the video. Are the images portfolio? No way. They're probably not anywhere near any standard I've taken. But you have to let those high standards not dictate your entire photography. You know,
I'll give you a prime example.
And the critic, go for it.
So I was at the beach recently with the dog, and I took this class photo of the dog, and I was like, I'll post it on Instagram, and then I didn't, because I was like, oh, it doesn't fit with anything else I've posted, and will people like it? Well, you know, but literally the dog was standing there and I moved around quite to try frame her in a way that I wanted her to be in. So there was preparation, there was planning, there was, I executed it well, you know, I edited it well. And then I was like, oh, I'm not going to post that. But a couple of years ago, I would have posted it. But now I'm just like, oh no, because it's not, you know, it's not what people expect of me. It's not what, it's not up to my standards, but it's actually a really good photo. But I really enjoyed taking that photo of Bailey because she looks class. And it was her first time at the beach in so long, because she had a cruciate ligament injury. So she couldn't get down to the beach for ages. And it was her first time at the beach. She had a big, smiley, happy head in her. You know what I mean? So I swear to God, big, smiley dog. So I was like, that's class. I kind of just, we all know Instagram is a game. Mark Duffy says it again. Mark's a friend of the show, and he's very vocal about his disdain towards Instagram at times, which is understandable. It is a game, you know, and it's a game that everyone kind of plays, and you have to play it to an extent. But also it's just, you know, it's not your portfolio as well, you know, so don't feel like you can only post 10 out of 10 images. You know, have your standards. Of course, you know, do that, because that is important. But just post what makes you happy.
The image still has to be nice to look at, you know.
Of course, absolutely. You don't want to see
an image that you're proud of, like, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
holds up well in terms of standards, in terms of photography standards. But
yeah,
like,
of course. But like, just don't post it because you
true.
think, you know, this is going to get more likes than another shot that you actually enjoy looking at more.
Yeah.
Because once again, you also never know. Like there are times where you post a photo and it could be, you know, you're like, I like this shot. Like it's quite lovely and pleasant. And then you post it and it just like, it blows up and you're like, oh, wasn't expecting that. And then vice versa. Like, you know, you plan a shot and you go and you do it and you take it. And then all of a sudden, you know, it does well. I hate even saying it, like it does well, but you know, it's received well online. And you know, but it's like sometimes the spontaneous shot has performed better, and like it's, you know, it's an algorithm, people. It's not real life either. So, you know, just stay true to you. Photograph what makes you happy, and that will. I mean, happiness will show in your photo as well.
Yeah, and enthusiasm. And enthusiasm is infectious. That's what I see. Photographers who aren't the best photographers in the world, but once they're enthusiastic about their work, that's infectious. Like that's an enjoyable person to be around.
I'll give you another example, right?
See that image?
Go ahead.
Go on. Yeah, I have.
Go on.
Okay. See this image here behind me? The viewers can see it. The listeners, it's the upper lake shot again. I've never sold any prints of this. Not one print have I sold. This canvas is my own. Bought it for myself because I wanted it for my wall. I took a photo the other day of Castle Oliver. It's a castle here in Ballyhora. It was done up, it was refurbished. An old castle was done up now. It used to be a hotel and stuff. And it's a really simple photo. It's not even like technically a good image because it's up on a height. I was up on top of a mountain, shooting down onto the castle, okay? And it's just a light hit it, okay? The light danced across the landscape and it hit the castle. I just snapped a quick telephoto shot, pure spontaneous, no planning, no nothing. I posted it on Facebook. I had 2 prints sold of that image within an hour of posting it.
No way.
And never sold anything like this. So, but I loved the shot. I loved the Castle Oliver shot because it's a really cool image of something in my local area. Yeah. So don't underestimate local pride either, do you know? But I really enjoyed that shot, and it's not one of my best images at all, but I really enjoyed taking it. 2 prints sold. Do you know what I mean? Like you know, sometimes like we're just overcritical as photographers. We're 100%. Overcritical so much, and like. But, I don't know. Generally, I'm not critical of something if I can't do it better myself.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. Like another prime example will be like I've had a lot of people commend me on my Dermot Kennedy photos, right? More so than most other gigs / acts that I photographed. And I genuinely believe, because I'm a huge, everyone knows I'm a big fan of Dermot Kennedy. But because I'm passionate about his music, therefore, when I was going to shoot that gig, in my head, it was already a bigger deal than other acts. Yeah. Like I shot that with more passion, and I kind of knew, like I'd planned more, let's say, and I knew where he'd be, what he'd be doing, a lot of stuff. But like, people are saying that they can see that I kind of have a lot of passion for his music and for him as an artist in the photography and even in the edits and stuff, because, you know, like there's no denying, especially concert photographers, you'll all agree this, like there's always a standard that you're gonna want to hit and achieve. But if you resonate and connect with the artist / act that you're photographing, you know, the results will be better. And that can be taken, that can be taken in any walk of life. You know, if you're a portrait photographer or a product photographer, if you're photographing a product that you have no interest in, you'll do the job, and no doubt you'll do it really well. But if you're commissioned to do a piece for a product that you actually really care about, I have no doubt that that's going to be some of your best work. And that boils down to shoot 100%. What makes you happy, because you're passionate about that. So that's all I'm asking people. You know, by all means, try things, and if you want to, follow a couple of trends, we've all done that as well. Do it. That's fine. But just stay true to yourself and just shoot what makes you happy. And take that from this episode. Sunrises from Shawnee.
Stop being so critical.
Yeah. Just enjoy photography again. Like photography comes first. Photography first, and then everything else after that. Well, not everything else, like obviously, in relation to photography.
Sorry, I turned off my microphone.
That's okay, Shawnee.
I was gonna lift it up and like go really close into the camera and like give people an intense look and tell them, "Do you?"
Do it.
But I'm just gonna
do it.
Stare at Just do you. Do you?
Just enjoy photography. That's all we ask. Okay.
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
What a way to end the episode. Thank you, Kevin. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I'm full of beans now.
I know, yeah. I want to go run up the side of a mountain.
I know, it's like Braveheart of photography or something. You know what I mean? Like, freedom!
I'll take the guitar off the wall behind me and smash it off the floor.
Ah, yes. Alas. Shawnee, it was a pleasure. Ronan, we missed you. Ronan's going to listen to this and he's going to watch it back, and we missed you, Ronan. We did. But sometimes it's nice to
shaking his head at all the rabbit holes.
Oh, stop. So, he'll be snapping.
I went from shooting Sunrise to Cromwell's rebellion in Ireland. Like, if that is not blind by to it, like,
I believe they call that a hot take.
Oh, only here you'll get that. I mean,
I know.
On a photography podcast.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Johnny,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wouldn't change it for the world. It was a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much. I forgot I'm hosting this, so I'm going to round off the episode.
You got to say goodbye and all
Kev,
that.
Thanks for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me, Sean.
Listeners, thank you. Thanks. Oh, it sounds strange you calling me Sean. Thank you very much, listeners, for listening. Obviously, thank you, the viewer, for watching. And if you've done both, well then, kudos. Stay safe. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well if you haven't done so already.
Tell your friends.
And tell your friends. Share the episode. Save the native woodlands. And until the next time, stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yurt.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Tripod.
If you'd like to support us, please visit our Patreon.
And don't forget, folks, we do have all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and you can join us in our deadly Facebook community group as well.
And please leave a review. Reviews help, so leave a review. Yurt.